Okay, we're back. We just picked up a couple of interface upgrades. One of them was, white. One of them was yellow, and you know, that just kind of seems like very, very good situation to be in. Um, it's kind of looking like we can still hop a bit from where we are, and if we hop out to K here, it's going to be, we're probably going to wind up wasting a propulsion fuel, whereas if we just go to W, we can still probably go to Q. Yeah, we'll go to Q based on that +1 propulsion fuel. So we've got all this interface upgrades, like these two interface upgrades, which previously was like incredibly overpowered, where you could just ship scan everything that was powered, which if you had remote power and reroute power meant that basically you could scan the entire ship for the most part, without even, scouting past the first, two rooms that you're exposed to. So, I mean, it's kind of good that you can't, but turning interface into basically just a defense turret activation actually kind of means that it's shifted back into being almost like, I mean, I guess it's still good. And I mean, any time that you're on a military vessel, it's going to be pretty good, like probably edging into very good. But when you're on ships that have like, one turret, I don't really know how much utility you're actually going to be able to get out of that. So, moving on, we're going to go ahead and check what we've got here. Cliff is basically dead. We're going to go ahead and shift his interface that's busted 15.10%. Failure probability in 4 missions used. We're going to shift that onto Jill. We probably won't wind up using that way. Mouse is already at basically 10% failure probability, despite only using it on 2 missions, which really was 1 because it came that way, with 1. So, it's interesting. Our stealth, unfortunately, is already at 16% failure probability. So, I mean, that's kind of what this game is about, is like keeping up, like, the more drones you find, either destroyed or disabled, the more upgrades you'll also get. And so it's kind of just a competition of, can you earn enough scrap over time to repair the upgrades that are really, really good. And if you can't find that, can you get by on upgrades that are like maybe in the yellow and like use them, like just bad upgrades, like stun and lure and trap and mine, and just like things that can like do damage but do it very inefficiently. If you can find ways to use those upgrades to get through an entire ship, then you can collect scrap and just additional upgrades to the point where you can continue using like really overpowered things like stealth and turret and shield and just what have you to just like mow through entire maps. where it doesn't really matter what's around, because you can just stealth into a room. If there's an enemy, you just hide in a corner. The enemy moves past you, you close the door, and you're continuing on. So that's just kind of what we've got. We've got to watch the stealth a little bit. We'll run this one more round, and then we will try to repair it. We're going to try to avoid using that interface unless something happens to mouse where we just wind up having to use that interface. In fact, yeah, like, it's not worth it to even bring it. Like, I'd rather be able to swap additional upgrades onto Jill. I think we're going to move that turret over to mouse. Even though mouse only has... actually, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think we do this, where we swap upgrades over, and we wind up with a generator drone that's only at 70% health, or sorry, 70 health, 100% of 70 health, versus 100 out of 100 health with interface, lure, and turret. So, I mean, I don't know. I found situations, like mostly involving swarms, where using turret or, Gatling in most of my previous experiences, you do wind up taking some damage, especially if there's like a couple swarms. And, it can be the difference between 70 hit points and 100. And, yeah, I don't know. Whenever I watch the dev play, Tim does a lot of live streams anytime that there's a new patch, a new version, and anytime you watch him between derelicts, he's like trying to repair his 4 main drones like up to their full health, which I may have touched on in earlier episodes. Like, I don't know, I find it interesting and kind of seems inefficient to me. In a lot of ways, like, unless you're worried about slime, which I try to be kind of religious about, like watching, switching between drone views to see slime coming up. For the most part, like, you can get like a drone with 10 hit points and a few upgrades can use all of those upgrades to its full extent, and it doesn't matter if it has 10 hit points or 90 hit points. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and hit this salvage C and board. So the one thing to remember is we have a reroute power. We're going to go ahead and tow Aaron back here. And ditch him there. Whoa, no, that was not what I was trying to do. Oh, alright. So we've got a turret and a scan, which are both really good. So Jill will go ahead and immediately appropriate those and move in here and scan. So yeah, so scan is one of those abilities that pretty much just always pays for itself and with dividends. So what we can see here is we've used it once I mean, so we've used it on one ship. Which, so we've used it on one ship, which will add, you know, like a tiny amount of durability to it, you know, maybe. Oh, shit. Alright, let's see if we can lock him in. Come on. Patrol bot. There we go. Yeah, so scan is just, I don't know, really, really good. I mean, we so on this mission we know we've only got a patrol bot as an enemy. So there's maybe one in the next room. We don't have to worry about the enemy vent that's behind me right here. Yeah, right here. Cursor. You know, it's a tiny map anyway, but whatever. But yeah, so like just using that scan mod, you know, once popped up like 4 or 5 scrap, which, you know, repairing it after, you know, 6 or 7 missions, because it's a slower repairing upgrade, is, you know, will also be, you know, 10. So we've probably already basically paid for it just by having that one R2 be ridiculously, you know, over saturated with things. Oh, snap. Alright, so okay. Let's just finish this. Just make sure that this is clear. It is. Let's gather. Please, fuck. Alright. The main thing we were hoping for there was a jump cell. I mean, propulsion fuel is cool, but jump cells are the real deal. A jump cell will net you, you know, at least 3 ships in general, possibly more, and they're worth more than their weight in gold, because they allow you to just like ditch a ship that you're like a little bit worried about. You know, if you're slightly like, oh god, I don't know, this might not be safe if I hop through this door. If you have enough jump cells, you're just like, you know what, like, it's not worth it. Let's just keep moving. And you can just exit and keep moving. And every jump cell you find is, you know, an extra at least 3 ships that you can check out. So, so on this ship, on this particular run, you know, we added Aaron, we got scan, we got turret. You know, those are great things. We also got, you know, 7 scrap. So, you know, even if everything is terrible and we never find another jump cell again, as long as we find an auto trader, we just got, you know, just with that scrap, we're halfway to another jump cell, which are 15 apiece. So, yeah, we'll call that an episode, and I'm going to go ahead and record a couple more tonight just to keep it rolling, because, I don't know, this is an interesting set.